Okay, thanks, Freddy. So, hello everyone, and this is Abishek Pradhan from India, and I am representing Zero Waste Himalaya. And today, my presentation is going to be about the Himalayan cleanup and what it says about the plastic crisis in the Himalayas. Next slide, please. So, actually, the Himalayan cleanup is one of the flagship events of Zero Waste Himalaya. It's an annual cleanup, and the main idea here is to reverse or flip the narrative that Himalayas are this sacred, pristine place which is untouched by pollution, and showing that how the mountains have been worstly affected uh, with the plastic pollution, and showing this to the individuals, to the government and non-government organizations, and to the world. And it's also associated with flipping the narrative of the waste, just being thinking about the waste until it reaches the dustbin, and cleanups being this event which are just like brooming ceremonies, and you move waste from one place to another. Next slide, please, Freddy. So the Himalayan cleanup first time took place in May 2018, May 26th. And in 2018 and 19, we could do a physical cleanup. And the cleanup itself is a zero waste event, and it's backed with a waste audit and a brand audit. So in the 2 years, we had 20,000 plus volunteers. We did cleanups in 350 plus sites. 300 plus organizations were a part of this cleanup, and it was conducted in 12 mountain states of India. And the objective was one, and which was to clean up the Himalayas. Next slide, please. So by numbers, 97 of the plastic waste that was collected in both the years combined, that's 2018 and 19, was 97% of all the waste. And the multi-layered plastic topped the audit. It was the most collected waste, followed closely by uh, use and throw plastics, which are mostly styrofoam here in India, and PET bottles, Tetra Pak, and other plastics which are like undefined. They followed this chart. So next slide, please. So you can see the Himalayan cleanup data and the global brand audit, which was published by Break Free from Plastic in 2018. And the top polluter in both the audits is Coca-Cola. And for India, it's Hindustan Coca-Cola, which is again closely followed by Nestle and Unilever, Mondelez, all the same names in the global and the Himalayan level cleanup. So next slide, please. So what did we achieve? We like the participants from their point of view, they like handle the waste, huge amount of waste with their hands, and they could like see that all the problem that the waste is creating. They had an experiential reflection. For the communities, they saw that how this problem like adds up, and it increases not just in volume but also in the depth and the graveness of the problem. And from an advocacy point of view, the data was taken up for the global brand audit data and the Indian brand audit data, and it also greatly helped in advocating for extended producers responsibility here in India. So next slide, please. So this year, because of the pandemic, we could not do a physical cleanup, but it was more of a household cleanup and a household audit. So how this took place was uh, is shown in the next slide. So the volunteers, they segregated their waste at their homes into firstly into biodegradable and non-biodegradable, then into the further categorizations. They did this for 5 days, and they uploaded the data with the help of a free a survey application which is available in both the Android and iOS platforms. Next slide, please. So this took place in the 12 mountain states of India, and we had roughly around 200 households participating. Next slide. So, as you can see, the 7,888 pieces were audited, and out of these, 85% accounted to plastic. And this number is lower. This percentage is lower for the household audit because a large portion of the household waste is biodegradable. But again, in spite of that, 85 percentage was plastic. And what was more shocking is like 71.8% of this plastic was actually non-recyclable in nature. Next slide, please. Uh, this shows that the most of the non-recyclable plastic came from our food and our personal care products. Like these are the necessities in a household, but again, like it's contributing most of the difficult waste. Next slide, please. Here you can see the waste profile in details. 63% of all the waste comes from our food packaging, 16% from personal care, 8% from household products, 6% from packing materials, and 4% from other household needs. Next slide, please. Here the question again is like most of the brands that were captured in our brand audit sold in multi-layered packaging. Uh, the food products are hyper processed with high amounts of sugar and salt. Next slide, please. And again, the same companies are appearing and reappearing in the audits of 2018 and 19 and 21 also. Next slide, please. Then, because this year we were the engagement was not on the ground but on a virtual space, so we decided to have sessions in uh, how to change the narrative, and the breakdown was into reflection, switching, and demanding. To reflect that the waste it's also about me, um, and to switch to a mindset that the waste is beyond the dustbins, and to demand producers' responsibility. Next slide, please. So for the reflection portion, move to the next slide, please. We must reflect on our choices and how our choices contributes towards the waste. Next slide, please. About like what is pushing us to buy, or rather who is pushing us to buy and why. Next slide, please. We need to reflect about our habit and where it is leading us. Next slide, please. And also, like, we need to reflect on this, that what happens to all that we buy. Next slide, please. As like we saw that 71% of the household waste that is coming from Himalayan households are non-recyclable. So, like, is it leading towards the fall of the recycling economy? We need to reflect on this too. So, next slide, please. So, about the switches, move to the next slide, please. We need to switch to a zero waste lifestyle, starting from where we can, and with constant growth, we need to opt options that are not just uh, that are actual zero waste options. Next slide, please. The single use, mm, this whole culture of single use must go away. Next slide, please. when we buy, we need to keep these things in mind, that what I'm buying must be reusable, it must be recyclable or compostable, it must be chemical free, it must be free from microplastic beads. Next slide, please. And then we need to demand. We need to demand because, please move to the next slide. We need to demand because we have been told lies. Next slide, please. Lies about the products and about the whole system. Next slide, please. And lie about that how we are solving the problem with whatever we are doing, and like how not changing even after seeing the how grave this problem is. We have been told lies about the whole system, that it's going on and it's not changing. Next slide, please. We need to recognize that waste is a design flaw, and it needs to be rethinked first of all. Next slide, please. We need to demand that the producers must be responsible, and we need to demand that we must be provided with better systems. Next slide, please. We need to demand because, like, it's not just a option, but it may just be the only option. Next slide, please. And alongside demanding, we need to start from where we can. So these are some of the photos of the waste audits that happened in the lockdown period, in the COVID period, and we are so grateful to all the participants of the Himalayan cleanup. Next slide, please. We actually need to start from where we can, because let's move to the next slide. Uh, as it says, like this beautiful illustration, if we wait for the government, it will be too late. If we act as individuals, it will be too little time. But if we act as communities, it might just be enough. Thank you so much. So if we move to the next slide, I'd like to leave you all with the Himalayan Cleanup Pledge, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Abishek. What a beautiful presentation and great work in India. And you're paving the path definitely over there for the next generation. So we do have maybe time for one question right now before we pass it along to Anna for her presentation. Okay, with no questions right now, I am going to now share Anna's presentation. So bear with me for 1 second here.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing fine.
And
I'm very well as well. Thank you, Amy.
okay, hold on 1 second, Anna.
Hello. There's actually a question for Abishek. I don't know if you should answer now.
Oh yeah, so Abishek, wait, I don't see the question.
What inspired you to get into the movement? For each of the presenters. Sorry.
Do we want to wait until everyone's presentation to answer the question?
Sure.
Do that, okay.
Yes.
So where is, oh, here it is. All right, so let me introduce you to our dear Anna, which I actually met at the ZWY's Youth International Convergence in Portugal. I don't know if you remember, but I did.
It was
So
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago, yeah. So Anna is an Italian living in Portugal with a master's degree in studies of the environment and sustainability. In 2017, she started her journey towards a zero waste and low impact lifestyle. And since then, she's been using her Instagram account as a platform for digital activism. Part-time content creator, full-time social media entrepreneur, Anna is the founder of the community-based brand Our Coats that turns broken umbrellas into high-quality fashion. With more than 30 collection points all over Portugal, she already saved together with the community more than 1,000 umbrellas from waste, showing that with creativity, trash doesn't exist. So please do start your presentation, Anna. Welcome.
Thank you. You can already go to the next slide. Hello, everyone. Here it's the end of the day, but probably for you it's a good morning. Hope everyone's doing fine. So my name is Anna Masiello. I am Italian, and in Italy I did my bachelor degree in languages and translation. But very quickly I understood that I had more things that I wanted to say, not just translate from one language to the other. And all the things that I wanted to talk about were about the environment and environmental protection. So in 2017, I moved to Portugal to do a master in environmental sustainability. And you can change the slide. And that's when I heard about zero waste for the first time. So I saw a video of Lauren Singer, which probably a lot of you know, she's the founder of Trash is for Tossers. And this video was viral, like many views. And she was showing trash in a jar. And I got so confused, like, why was this video viral? And why was this girl showing trash in a jar? So I did my research and I learned about this lifestyle. And the goal is to send as little as possible to landfills or incineration. And to me, it clicked right away that this was a way for me to do it, like the first step for a low impact lifestyle. I'm not going to get into the zero waste hours because I'm sure that you're going to hear a lot about it today. But in general, this lifestyle really, this concept really taught me to look at everything as something with value and never really as trash. You can change the slide. So what happened? So I heard about zero waste was the end of 2017. Now we're in the beginning on 2018. I'm in Lisbon. It's a city by the ocean. It's very windy. And during rainy days, I started noticing broken umbrellas everywhere. And I knew that they would end up incinerated in landfills or in nature because they are not recyclable. They have the metal part, the hard plastic part, sometimes wood, the fabric, so it cannot be recycled. And all I could think of was that that was valuable material. It did not deserve to be wasted that way. So I started taking all the umbrellas home. Imagine I was in a very, very small room at the time. And I just started saving umbrellas. I had no idea what I was going to do with them. No idea at all, I swear. I just knew that they were too valuable to end up wasted. So when I had about 25 umbrellas, 30 in my room, and they're not tidy, okay? Imagine a broken umbrella. It's like this, it occupies a lot of space. It's also dangerous sometimes. So I really had to find a solution quickly. I did a research and I couldn't find anyone that made garments from umbrellas. I saw a few projects that made accessories like tote bags or simpler things, but not, for example, coats. You can change the slide. And I thought, I mean, sounds challenging enough. I love challenges, let's try. But I had no experience at all in sewing or in designing in anything of this area. But I bought a sewing machine and I spent many, many hours on YouTube, you know, like sewing for dummies, sewing 101. And I took a big piece of paper out of the trash in the architecture department of my university. And I still remember, like, put it on the floor. On top of it, I put a jacket that I liked and I drew the shape of the jacket. That is not the way you do patterns. Now I know, but at the time it was the only way that I could do it. And then on top of this piece of paper that looked like a coat, more or less, I started doing a puzzle with umbrellas. Took me like a week. A piece here, then a piece there, then there was a hole, so I would add another little piece. But this was the final result. So it's not perfect. Like in the picture, it looks fine, but it actually has a hole here and it's a little like this. I can't really use it, but it was enough to share it on my Instagram and to receive amazing feedback. Everyone loved the concept. Everyone was super supportive. And even better, you can change the slide. Even better, people wanted to donate broken umbrellas. And it was amazing. Like I was not expecting it, but I started receiving messages like, can we meet? I have an umbrella. I just found an umbrella in the trash. Where do you live? Where can I leave it? So imagine I was still in that very small room and I didn't have 25 umbrellas anymore. I was starting to have like 50, 60. You can change the slide. So I started creating collection points. Disappeared. Yeah, collection points. The first ones were in Lisbon. Now we have more than 30 in Portugal. We are opening the first ones in Italy, in my hometown, which is the windiest city of Italy. So it makes total sense. And these collection points are most of the times shops that are like bulk shops, package-free shops. They're usually aligned with our values, or they're universities most of the times. And these collection points are a fantastic way to involve the community, that we love to call them umbrella heroes. And it's a way to really empower people to do something, like we've noticed, thanks to the collection points, that people don't want to send things to landfills or incineration. If they have a solution, they will contribute. And we've noticed this because we saved already more than 1,200 umbrellas in a short period of time. And it's all thanks to our umbrella hero. So it's really amazing. You can change. Yeah, so I did the first one that you saw. By the way, they're called R coats. The R represents the R of zero waste, and coat because coat was the first product that I made. So I made that first one that I showed earlier, and I made these ones by myself as well, but they were not, they didn't have the quality that I wish they had. You can change. So in 2019, I started working with a seamstress in Lisbon, and the quality was way better because she was a professional, right? I had no idea what I was doing, but they were similar all the time. We started using buttons. If you look at the picture of the green jacket, the two black pieces here are the hard plastic part of the umbrellas, the one that blocks the fabric on the metal strings. You can change. And this is where we're now. So between 2019 and now, there was a lot of work that happened. At the end of 2019, I met the girl that now is Brazil, but she lives in Lisbon. I'm so passionate about zero waste and about the environment. And she's so passionate about sustainable fashion and circularity in fashion. So together, we really transformed what was an upcycling project for me into a real brand with a real voice. And throughout 2020, it was hard because, pandemic, but we really worked hard to create a design, high quality. You cannot see in the pictures, but the inside part of the coats have a lining. It's a different material, but we don't buy it. We receive it from a factory in the north of Portugal. We don't even choose the color or the type of fabric. We simply receive meters of fabric that they are not able to use or to sell. So the first collection was all blue inside, but maybe the next collection will be all black or green. We don't care. We're just happy that we're reducing waste. But yeah, the first collection was in May of this year, so it's very new for us. And we started with these jackets, as you can see, the hats, and a limited collection of shorts that we did with another brand. And now we're working right now, very, very busy month for the winter collection. And we made a new design for the coats. They're going to be longer for the winter, for the rain, but they're always going to be made with umbrellas on the outside part, and that stock fabric on the inside. I don't think I have anything more. You can change. And this is it. I hope that this was a way for you to realize that really trash, what is trash, like we have the power to really give a new life to things, and with a little creativity, nothing should be wasted, really. Everything has a value and everything can be transformed. So I hope to also see some of your creations. If some of you love upcycling, I would love to connect. Thank you.
Wow, beautifully made products, Anna.
Thank you.
And they're gorgeous colors too. So we're right on time. So after, are there any questions for Anna right now, or we can wait until all of our presenters speak? But we do have some time if anyone has a burning question now. All right, I am gonna transition into Fausto's presentation. Just 1 second here. Okay, so Fausto, actually, I met, oh, I'm not sharing my screen yet, am I?
No. Right.
I actually met Fausto, was it last month? Oh, excuse me.
Last month. Yeah.
He was in San Francisco doing some climate research in our department where I work. So I'm really happy that he's here presenting. So let me introduce you to Fausto Fabian Perez de Lara Lopez. He is with an activist from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. And Fausto has been a climate activist since 2019, starting Fridays for Future in his city of Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. He has been involved in various local movements to stop industrial projects that would quicken the destruction of the environment. He has made a great team of environmentalists that are consulted for environmental actions in Guadalajara, which is the second largest, biggest city in Mexico. On October 1st, he is taking office as director of the environmental department of the city of Tonalá. He seeks to make a government activist office that makes the best choices concerning the environment, consulting the experts of the world to make the best of it. So welcome, Fausto, and let me know. You can go ahead and start.
Thank you, Freddie. Nice to see you. Okay, well, today I am going to share with all of you my story as an activist and how it has been, okay? So can we start the presentation, please? Okay, so I started as an activist in March of 2019 when a friend of mine from Lima, Peru, told me that he was beginning to strike as a climate activist and supporting Greta Thunberg in her movement of Fridays for Future. And to be honest, in that moment, I was not really familiar with the climate crisis that we were living in. So I started to look up. It sounded interesting what my friend was telling me, and the thing was big. So can we go to the next slide, please? And so while I was doing some research, I figured out that the climate crisis is not something that is in the future or is something that is far away from us. This picture that is here in the presentation is a toxic river. That's Greenpeace who took the picture, and that is not foam, that is pollution. And that river, the name of the river is Rio Santiago, in English, Santiago River. And it's only 20 miles away from Guadalajara, the second biggest city in Mexico. And it's the most polluted river in the American continent. It's something crazy that 12 years ago, an 8-year-old kid fell in the river and he died just because of drinking some water of the river. So he did not drown. He was rescued seconds after being pushed into the water. But that is the situation that we're living here. Can we go to the next person? Next slide, please. Okay, so when I knew all of this, I gathered with some friends and I decided that we had to make the movement happen in the city. So we went to several universities. This is one university that we went to, La Mar. We went to other schools, we went to high schools, and we started to gather up people and let them know what the climate crisis was. Can we go to the next, please? And it was crazy. And the first strike we made was a complete success. It was the first global strike that Greta summoned. And the picture is not well taken, but it was over 200 people there. And it was really good. A lot of people were starting to get interested. Can we go to the next, please? So we kept on striking every Friday, Fridays for Future, and everybody wanted to join. We started getting other people calls and messages that they wanted to join. And can we go to the next, please? Even politicians from almost every political party, they wanted to join. They wanted to be part of the movement and show support. So here is a picture, and when we got a radio program in a radio station every Tuesday for an hour, and we called it Tuesday for Future. It was really good. And there we made announcements and shout outs to people to join the movement, to keep on doing more things. We even got calls and people wanted to do something in their towns, in their province, in their local neighborhoods. And it started to grow, it started to get big. Can we go to the next, please? So we did reforestations. We got donations from organizations and from the government to start planting trees in our local forest that it's Bosque de la Primavera. It's called Spring Forest, that's the name. And each day that we went, we planted over 1,000 trees. And on the weekends, it was something amazing. We were striking every time and the movement got better and better. Can we go to the next, please? And this picture, it was a very special day for me. In the left side is one of my best friends, Pipo. In the right side, it's me, Fausto. And in the middle is Pedro Kumamoto. That day, I knew that there was hope, that we were going to be able to change things. And that day, Pedro Kumamoto, he's a politician. He started as an independent. And that day he invited me to be part of his political party and that we would be able to make a change with politics. So that's when the things started to change the path. Okay, can we go to the next? So we kept on striking, time passed, weeks passed, and things kept on going. Here's this is one of the most important newspapers in the city. And we were still making a lot of noise. People wanted to join, people were joining. The government, well, to be honest, we were not getting the results we wanted, but we were there, we were present, and we kept on striking every Friday. We never stopped. Can we go to the next, please? And after some weeks passed, and this is us in the streets, in the markets, with the people, in the campaign for the elections of Kumamoto and in his political party, Futuro. And there we were letting people know what our objective was, why we were doing things. One of the main goals of Kumamoto while being mayor was to plant 1 million trees in the city. So it started to get more political, but in a focused way to fight the climate crisis. Can we go to the next, please? So this is one mural we made, and this is Greta. Well, that is me in the right side, the left in my body, and Greta is in the wall, a mural we made. And our political movement is based in the environment, in Greta, and in Fridays for Future. Can we go to the next, please? So after several more weeks after, there was like this rumor that there was this big hill of trash, a 350 feet tall hill of trash that's a landfill that's in the city. We have a really big city. It's a 6 million people city. So we did not know about this. So I had to go and see that. And it's true. It's really happening. And one of the main reasons this is happening is that here, there is no separation of the garbage. There is no recycle, there is no organic, there's no waste. It all goes to the same place. And this is something huge that is not being attended. So after that, after getting to know that I was going to be part of the government and that I was going to be in charge of the environmental department of my city, I knew that I had to get advice from the best. And the best is, can you go to the next, please? The environmental department of the city of San Francisco, headed by Debbie Rafael. So I got to speak with her. So I went to San Francisco and met her team. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And there I got to meet wonderful people like that are now my friends, like Debbie Rafael, Freddy Coronado, Claudia Espino. And well, now that I have the knowledge that I've gotten from my life experience and the connections that I have now from the environmental department of San Francisco, C40, the Recology Center of San Francisco, and all of the other heroes that I know that are fighting in this climate crisis, I feel now ready to empower this fight against the climate crisis as a government official. Can you go to the next, please? And in the president's in the city hall of the city of Tonalá. So that is my story. And now it's just a matter of time that we start in this project. And to conclude with this, I just want to tell all the youth that is here listening and to all the people that it's important that we join and that we do this together. And I am sure that we will be able to fight this climate crisis and end with it. That's all.
Thank you, Fausto. And that was a great presentation from the three of you. As you can see, this virtual space makes it possible for us to be able to exchange ideas and projects. So you heard from three great speakers doing different ways, climate activism, zero waste work, from Portugal to India to Mexico. So 3 different parts of the world here for you. So we do have 6 minutes for questions. So I know there was one in the chat before. I think I lost it, but does anyone have any questions for Anna, for Fausto, for Abishek? Okay, I see one here. So question for all, or how can we encourage producers to take responsibility for waste when voting with your money. Can be out of reach for many people. Or can it be out of reach for many people?
I know many people like the positive approach. Sometimes I notice though that the bad reviews work a little faster. So whenever, for example, I use my Instagram, I use it for a lot of good brands and projects, and I say, "Yay, good job." But I also use it when I'm like upset about something, and brands and projects start working quite quickly. So I think that public pressure and bad reviews sometimes can be a very effective way. It's not the nicest, right? Because there are humans behind it, but it could be quite a quick way to, shake them.
And Abishek says, speaking of health, Fausto, do you have anything to add? Would you like to add anything? It's good. Okay, so actually, I was wondering if Fausto, Anna, and Abishek can share their social media pages on the chat.
Sure.
I think it's really important that we all, follow each other if you're on social media, that we empower people from around the world that are doing this work. So please put your social media handles in here if you'd like to share them. So we have a comment here from Emmy. So it's more of a so it's so empowering to see many people taking a lead and making actual action happen. So that is correct. And thank you for the three of you for joining us on our ZWY Youth Convergence. I know for Anna and for Abishek is like past midnight over there. So thanks for staying awake for our event. And with that being said, if there are any more questions, we can probably end the session early. And I welcome our speakers. Oh,
hello, I have a question.
Go for it.
Thank you so much for sharing your work. It was fantastic for all three. But I have a question for Fausto. Is the river getting cleaner?
Cleaner?
Yeah.
Not yet. We are still in. The problem there is that there is many international companies, multinational companies that are polluting there every day, the river.
Yeah.
And
I'm actually from Michoacan, which is a state next to you, but now I'm studying in San Francisco State. I would love to do something for Mexico, but I feel like it's really hard. It's really hard, but we need to change people from the bottom, especially empower kids, which are the future generations. But in Mexico, we can try really hard, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's really hard to change things in Mexico, especially because politicians and everybody, is a lot of corruption in the country, so it's hard. I love that. I love the idea. I love your work, and I can see that you're actually struggling a lot in there.
yeah, it's been a really big struggle with that river. And like I told you, the problem is that there's a lot of multinational companies that are polluting, that they are not allowed to pollute other countries, like their native countries. And so where can they do that? They can come to Mexico and corrupt the government.
Yeah.
So that's why with Kumamoto and the movement we're making, we are trying to be inside and not permit that anymore. But it's hard because there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of things going on, but we stopped other industrial projects. While we were in the radio, there was this hydroelectric company that wanted to get there, and it would harm even more the river. So we managed to gather up all the people in the town and tell them, hey, this is going on. let's stop it. And we stopped it. So it was one goal versus 1,000 that we are getting, but it's one. But each time that we unite, I am sure we will be able to make it.
Thank you so much. I feel like you already get really, really far. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that this is a very common problem, right? Of countries that cannot pollute in their own country, so they go to places where there's not a strong legislation. So maybe to change, like you were saying, the situation in Mexico, you really have to tackle these big corporations in their home country, right? So maybe the goal is not to change Mexicans, but to change, people from other countries that are behind this corporation.
Yeah, this is global something.
Yes, I want to add, I even tried, there was this movement in London that I talked to them that they wanted to do something. So I believe that probably that people from these countries like United States, London, and France, Spain, all those first world countries, they should strike, but against the government over here. They should say like, hey, we know what you're doing. And once everyone puts their eyes in the same place, we will be able to take off their mask and let them know that we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to add that, as a government employee, like I think we need good people in government. So it's going to take a generation to change old ways. All governments in the world can improve somehow or another, but it really is up to, this generation, for us, for Fausto and others to follow, to like be good government employees and to change the system from the inside out. And we have one last question here from Catherine Chen. What have each of you found is effective in reaching people who are new to issues near you and asking for their support?
In my case, I think it's through empowering them. So to making them feel that their action really makes a difference, and that's when they feel like, okay, then I'm gonna do something. I think that feeling of like, oh my God, this simple thing that I can do makes a difference, then I'm gonna do it because it's not that hard, doesn't take that much time.
Yes, I believe that too, that everything that we do, it will have an impact. And as long as you have your goal, the path might go like this, and some things will not be as you expected, and you will learn maybe that they're even better, or that you will get help from people or places that you were not even expecting. But all you have to do is just start. Make the first step, then the second, then the third, and so on. And then you will notice all the things you have done. So that's really important, just to do it.
Okay, so for me, like, it's really important to not throw everything up on everyone, and like really recognize who you are speaking to and who you are approaching. For example, there may be a different way of approaching a government employee and something else while approaching a community leader. So something for the mensurator there and something for the housemaker. So yeah, you need to really look at the target audience and like what it will be easy for them to understand and to like take up in their life.
Very, very good points. So it is break time, but we do have a huge lunch break. So our next session will start at 1 p.m. Fausto, do you want to answer one last question?
Sure. What were some of your, okay, for Juan Avila, one big one is the system that they use to separate the garbage. It's something that we need to do quickly here. There is this company that is taking care of the trash recollection in the city, but it's not working good. And in San Francisco, there's programs that encourage businesses to have clean energy, to have programs that are eco-friendly. Those are the things that we will implement over here in Guadalajara. You're welcome.
Okay, well, thank you all for your incredible work as activists and doing the work that needs to be done. So I really enjoyed hearing from all of you on your different ways that you're contributing to climate, to zero waste. And with that, we are on lunch break. So see you all at 1 p.m. We do have a lunchtime activity with Hillary Michelle. She's one of our Zero Waste youth members. And she's going to be doing a presentation on zero waste food tips and tricks at 12 p.m. in this room. So thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.